Okay. So part of the New York series. It's going to mix up a warm gray, a little bit of burnt sienna with my contaminated palette. Add a little bit of raw sienna in there. Start painting some light to dark. I'm going to go around these lights. First, I'm going to paint the lights in, and that is going to stay light there. In fact, I make sure this little part right here stays light. That part. Whoops. Scrub that out. Going to add a little bit more burnt sienna to this and a little purple. I don't care about that. It's going to be darker over it. I think I'm getting a nice feel already. I want to keep that very light back there. I'm going to start putting in a little more of this burnt sienna. This is going to end up being a pretty light. Just want to get some paint on the paper. Going to add a little Quinn gold to that, and a little purple on top of that, just to start blocking in some of these starting with the big shapes, very important. Pull those off just a little bit. And I think a little more purple in here. Little maybe brighten it up just a tad, a little touch of alizarin. Oh, I like the blooms. I like all that stuff. A little warmer. Oh, I think that's a fairly decent start for just blocking in. So there we go. I'll let that dry. Yeah, there's one thing that I didn't do that I want to do now is I'm going to take just a tad of yellow. I'm going to clean this palette right here so it's a little bit more pure color. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and some Quinn gold. And this is kind of what I'm hoping to get for what made me want to paint this to start with. So I want that lighter. The course will be darker. I don't care about any of that because it's going to be covered up with a darker color. I think that that'll work. Lighten that a little bit just by wipe. I paint just as much with this as I do the brush. So that's going to give a nice pop. I am leaving white paper. Okay, it's had a chance to dry a little bit more. And I'm still going to use my bigger brush. Going to make a puddle of burnt sienna, some purple, imperial purple if you need to know. And I need a bigger puddle. Always kind of mix more than you think. I'm being thoughtful about this. I'm going to these are my lights. I'm going to start painting midtones. Uh, Light midtones, dark midtones, and midtones. So Let me use a slightly smaller brush. I just want to get that knocked in, mostly for the value. And it's going to get a little bit, let's see, I have this going. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. I'm going to wait just a little bit for that. I'm going to have this. No, I don't want to get too cute with this. I want to keep this fairly loose. I don't care about that because it's going to be darker. It's dry enough now. It's light. mix more paint. No matter how much I thought I mixed, it's never enough. And it's about, for me, it's about the value of the color, not the color. I'm painting at an angle, so I'm just going to let that float down. What I'm trying to do is build some depth. I really am trying to be minimal, if you will. I'm trying to keep it simple, simplify I keep using this same color just to unify. And do this build. It's a fairly complicated subject. It's going to get much darker in there, so I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to take a neutral gray. I'm going to use, instead of ultramarine, I'm going to stay with the burnt sienna and the purple. And I'm turning the paper sideways because it's easier for me to make a stroke from my shoulder as opposed to my hand. I do not want this to be much contrast right here. And start putting in a few more darks. This is still mid-tone while the paper is still damp. I want to keep the most contrast up here in this area. I'm gonna have to let this dry because the paper is starting to buckle. And I don't want that to happen yet. So I'll just put in enough of something happening. Got a guy here. Someone here. And I'll just use the remnants of my paint. Uh, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn it this way. Again, I ran out of paint. That is going to stay light. I don't care about this necessarily right now. I'm just going to try to make a some vertical strokes that look believable. And that kind of looks like columns. I'll wash this out just a tad. There, I'm zeroing in on this. I hope you guys can see that. I am going to take a bigger brush once again. And I know I beat this to death, but I still want to make this slightly darker. That's better and a little more out of focus. That's great. I like it. Clean this up just a tad. There we go. That's the second pass at this. And I'm still painting midtone. I know this looks dark. It's going to dry lighter. And then I can start defining people, presence, etc. And the one thing that I wanted to do that I didn't do the last time is I used Quinn Gold. I am using some cad yellow light because I really want part of these things to pop. So that's a little brighter color. Not as much when it gets off of the path here, but I really do want this to pop a little bit more. There, that's enough. Now, I'm gonna let it dry. Okay, so we got one mid-tone in, so now we're gonna put in some more. And I'm gonna use my rosemary round. And again, to make my dark, I am going to keep with that palette of purple and burnt sienna. I'm using this instead of ultramarine, which I usually make darks with. And I've got some stuff happening up here, which I'll just go ahead and put in now. Do this fairly quickly because I do not want to start getting too fussy. So I have this angle, so I'm going to turn my page. Actually, I have this angle right here, so I'm just going to copy that angle, fill it in, and this angle right here, fill it in, not fussy. And this angle, I want this column right here to be defined coming down. So there's enough for that. I don't care about the rest of it. I do have a little here, here, good enough, good enough, good enough. There we go. And yeah, I do have a few little things going on. That's going to dry back considerably, so I'm not too concerned with that. Just going to put a chunk right there. And now I can kind of complete these columns, and I'm going to use this handy dandy watercolor mall stick. And I made it so it slide back and forth, so I can just put it here. And I can just use this lighter value of this to just do that, that. Easy peasy. I am going to make this column stand out a little bit more by just doing this and then washing out the edge. There we go. Kind of looks real, huh? I'll make a darker column on this side and wash out that edge. Go. That's good enough. Put a few on the darker. Make this darker right through here. just for a little variety. There we go. Done. Done, done. I'm going to add just a touch of Payne's gray to this to make it a little cooler, slightly cooler, because I want to do this guy. One stroke, one stroke. Go. Same here. I am going to put, this is a little distracting up here, so I am going to just a couple of white. That's better. And then I have these columns over here. And again, I'm going to use my watercolor mall stick. I'm going to shorten it so it'll lay flat on my paper. Start there. Good enough. So look how that just those few minutes detailed gives the illusion of detail. Let's put it that way. And of course, I want that light happening. I'm going to do this part last, I think. I'm going to start putting in some darker midtones. I'm going to use Payne's gray and some burnt sienna and a little bit of the purple again, so I have a nice shadowy kind of dark, a little more purple. So I have, this is dry down here, so I'm going to work from top to bottom. That just a little something happening. I've got this part right here, which I might as well put in right now with this darker color against that gold. There we go. There we go. That made a big difference. And these guys over here, they just continue on that perspective line. I'm going to use a little bit of a dark right here. So not too bad. There we go. Okay, I'm starting to see the light, which is what it was all about to start with. Contrast is king. And of course, with watercolor, all this stuff's going to be drying lighter, so get over it. This is still dry. I can still put my hand on the paper. I'm going to paint the shape. This isn't dark enough yet, but I want to just paint the shape. I'm going to keep turning the page so it makes it easier to paint. I'm sure you've noticed this already. I am painting on a tilt. Not much of one, but few strokes, just a few strokes. There we go. That'll work. Whoops. I did something. See that column right there? I didn't continue it. So I'm going to continue it. There we go. And that's got a little highlight along here. I'm going to change my color in a minute. While I have this darker color. Kind of a figure and kind of missed the head. So I'll just do this. Good enough. And I'm going to put a little wash over that when this is dry. Just to glue it together. Go. Make a slightly warmer, going to use a little bit of raw sienna in here. That was too much. Slightly warmer tone. Yep. I'm going to come back to this because I want this to dry a little bit. This side I can do. And that stairway that's coming down. There we go. That'll be okay once I get it going. These guys are going to warm them up just a little bit. Now I'm going to start making that old saying. If you just take economy of strokes, you don't have to worry so much about uh, lifting your watercolor or any of that nonsense. I want to leave that hot spot there. So we're starting to build depth, aren't we? I'm going to put a little there, little of that raw sienna under there. That's getting some light kickback. And I'm going to mix a grade version of that and put it over that whole panel. But this lets me continue painting top to bottom. Good enough. Got a left turn up here. I like the way that light just goes back. All the rest of these things I can do at a later date. Got a big shadow off this light that I just saw. That's cool. Kind of helps. Also, what I'm trying to do is just to simplify a bunch of moving parts. This is really quite a few moving parts here. I'm going to leave that alone. I think. Let's see. I think I will just continue this. So it makes sense. All kinds of little nif that you could do in here. I'm going to use some of this. Be careful now. I'm getting use a little bit of that raw sienna. Work a little bit of that over here. Just a little. Use my watercolor ball stick again. I'm going to add a taste of orange to that, just to give it a little bit different color palette. Have to wait for that to dry a little bit, but I'm going to use that raw sienna, dirtied up just a little bit, put in a transparent wash right through here. Grate it up a little bit. Now I'm going to use that teal, grade down teal color, which is amazing in this shot. Got to dirty it up a little bit. I'm going to mix a little bit of that orange with it to dirty it up. Now I can I'm going to mix up a dark. Just going to use some Payne's gray and what's contaminated on my palette. So I see I have this over here, and I'm going to continue that. I'm going to add a little brown and purple to that. Wash that out a little bit. We got color on it. Want that to be a crisp edge. So now that's going to start lighting that up. And here's another crisp edge that I want. Especially this one. Wash my brush out just a little bit. So now I can put some of these in the columns. And it gets lighter as it goes over. Go. Now I can finish putting my some darks in this. So I'm going to turn my paper this way because I want to make this kind of stroke. There we go. Enough moving parts. Now I can put that dirtier raw sienna wash over this guy. And a little too strong. Maybe not. Keep the light right there. It's good enough color for that. And there we go. I think that's pretty much done for that part of it. I've got to go back and add some darks into this to make this pop a little bit more. But it's fun to see a painting start to come together. At least it is for me. Add a little purple here. There we go. A little more shadow under here. A little more shadow on that back post. Give it a little bit better form. So anyway, most of the hard stuff is done. I'm going to use that same purpley color again, just to emphasize this. Now I'm going to just wash that out. And there we go. I'm going to stop. Okay, let's see if we can finish this guy. I'm going to start adding a few more details, not a lot, but I want to make this thing sparkle. Back to my watercolor bridge. Want to slide that just because I can get it on the page easier. And I want these to be fairly dark. I'm using a little bit of burnt umber and Payne's gray because I want the contrast. That's where I'm going to want the viewer to look. So that just made that shinier, if you will. And let's see. Just going to finish this top part a little bit more. Uh, you can use a little gouache on that. One more little guy here. I actually enjoy painting the beginning better than the end, because now I'm just doing a bunch of little detail. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to mix up some Payne's Gray. It's got a, this is Winsor Newton Payne's Gray. It's got a little, it's blue. It's a cool gray. And I'm going to start adding some darks to the bottom of this. It's good enough. I just want to make that a little darker to complete. Candles being lit, dark. We've got somebody over here wearing the hoodie, I think. Anyway, that's what I'm going to make it. When you're doing these people, do not try to do a portrait. Just paint shapes that happen to look like people. I can always go back with a little gouache and fix these later on. They are nothing more than shapes. A little darker in here. just adding a little blue to this to start shaping this guy's base. Gonna go to a bigger brush because I don't want to get bogged down in a bunch of detail. Keep this pretty clean. There we go. Just enough to suggest. Just a suggestion of stuff. Who knows what it is? More dark. See how light those darks dried? Wow. And I wanted the darkest up at the front because that's going to lead you into the painting. It's enough. Go back with a little orange, dulled down orange. Let's put a few. getting my hand full of stuff. I think that's enough touching. Now, that was a lighter one. They kind of sort of look like people. I'm not trying for a portrait. It's got to look like it was painted like the rest of the painting, which this one is kind of time consuming because of the complexity of it. But I think we're almost there. I am going to use a little color here, just a little. Red hat or something. Maybe a little bit over here. I don't know what that is, but I just decided to make it a spot. That looks pretty much marbly. This looks okay. This could have a little bit. Now I've got to go back and I've got to tone down a few things to give this thing some more light. That was good. This is too light through here. That's better. I think all these columns on the right are too light. So I'm just going to take some it's not about the color, it's about the value of the color. So I killed that. That's going to give it a little more space or depth, I think. And I'm going to take my big brush and I'm actually going to do the same thing. Oh no! I'm going to do the same thing through all this carefully painted little stuff. I'm going to leave the light where I think it should be. And I'm going to kill a little bit of that value and make them closer in value to really punch that escape. Now I still am going to have to, I'm going to use a paint spray for this. It still bothers me that it's not have enough form and it's kind of getting in the way. So I want to just smooth this, blend this out. There you go. So that gives a better sense of depth, I think. I'm going to do this very lightly. Give that column a little bit better shape. Just kill that slightly. There's my other light back there. I'm gonna make this a little darker. Now that you're gonna do this when you paint, you're gonna find there are certain things just to bring it all kind of together. So just putting that little dark in there, that gave me the ability to separate that slightly and make it a little more dramatic. I think that this is, even though I was very careful about this, that needs to be killed just a little bit. And this needs to be killed a lot. Here we go. Now that's going to make that a little bit better. I think now I am going to use just a slight amount of white paint. Not a lot of places to use it on this one. Uh, let's see. Well, just a tad, side of the faces, top of their heads, gives a little spark to this. And in here, just to make this a little bit more fancy. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of that Quinn Gold and I'm going to let this overlap a little bit. I'm going to go down here with that gold. So that gold is just not in that one place. There, that pulls that out, gives it a little more of a glow. There we go. You know, I keep seeing the shape of this column of being very stark right here. I'm not going to do that because uh, it's going to be too distracting. None of this matters. None of that. It's all here. So why did I paint this picture? Why did I want to paint this picture is because of this. I don't care about the rest of it. I don't care if it's there or not, frankly. I am mixing a little white paint with this Quinn Gold to make sure I'm staying in camera here. That's okay. That's okay. I could put a little there. Snaps that up. Snaps that up. I don't mind at all letting some of this stuff just go to hell. I just want a little more contrast up there. And I think, I'll look at this later, but I think that it's pretty much um, done. I think I'll make this just a tad darker. Every time I say that, then of course I don't stop. Except a tad darker color. Back to my purple and burnt sienna. This got lost in here. Go. You could keep putzing with this for a while. So I'm going to stop putzing. That's enough for you to get the idea, I think. And my little secret tool, the watercolor uh, small stick. Anyway, let's see what this looks like with, first of all, I'm going to put, I'll put this guy on here. These are two different size mats. This is kind of what I envisioned. So I'm just going to leave that alone. So I think you can see that I think it works pretty well. I've got this in my rule of thirds, upper quadrant, and I don't want anything else really spelled out too much. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'll get rid of this, my gravity machine, which is nothing more than that, came with an appliance. And see if I can't center this a little bit better. And there we go.